Good afternoon, everybody. This is Casper back with a special update on Hurricane Melissa. Here we are at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and we have the update from the 11 a.m. advisory that I would like to go over with everybody. And we may catch the 2 p.m. intermediate advisory before we are done here. So, as of the 11 a.m. advisory, Hurricane Melissa is located at 21.4 north, 75.6 west, about 150 miles south of the central Bahamas, and about 1,005 miles southwest of Bermuda. Maximum sustained winds have come down to 100 miles an hour, and it is currently moving northeast at 14 miles an hour, with a minimum central pressure down to 974 millibars. With this advisory, the Meteorological Service of Bermuda has upgraded their hurricane watch to a hurricane warning. So currently, in effect, we still have hurricane warnings for eastern Cuba, the southeastern and central Bahamas, and now Bermuda. We also have tropical storm warnings in effect for all of Haiti, all of the Turks and Caicos, and this particular Cuban province that I cannot pronounce. As far as our hazards affecting land, there has been a few changes. As far as our wind is concerned, hurricane conditions are occurring within the warning area in Cuba, but expected to begin subsiding this afternoon. Tropical storm conditions are expected in Haiti today. Hurricane conditions are expected in the southeastern and central Bahamas today, while tropical storm conditions are expected in the Turks and Caicos Islands today. Hurricane conditions are now expected on Bermuda late Thursday and Thursday night, with tropical storm conditions expected earlier on Thursday. As far as our rainfall is concerned, for eastern Cuba, heavy rains will continue this morning, tapering off this afternoon. Storm total rainfall of 10 to 20 inches with local amounts to 25 inches over mountainous terrain is expected. This will cause life-threatening and potentially catastrophic flash flooding with numerous landslides. Over the southeastern Bahamas, storm total rainfall of 5 to 10 inches are expected today, which will result in areas of flash flooding. For the Turks and Caicos, rainfall totals of 1 to 3 inches are expected. Heavy rain may begin to affect Bermuda on Thursday or Thursday night. Rainfall has diminished across Jamaica. However, additional scattered showers are possible with an additional rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches. This will bring storm total amounts to 12 to 24 inches with isolated areas of 30 inches possible over mountainous terrain. Ongoing catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides will continue today into tonight. Over southern Hispaniola, additional rainfall of 4 to 6 inches are expected today, with storm total local maxima of 40 inches possible. For our storm surge of 4 to 7 feet above normally dry ground is possible in the southeastern Bahamas today, and minor coastal flooding is possible in the Turks and Caicos Islands today. This is where our change came in. Our 4 to 7 feet has been is down from the 5 to 8 feet that we had in the previous advisories. Minor coastal flooding is possible in bays and inlets along the north coast of eastern Cuba, and minor coastal flooding is expected along the coast of Haiti. And for our surf and rip currents, please stay out of the water. For our forecasters discussion, we will go through this in its entirety, being that the storm itself had just emerged off of the north coast there of eastern Cuba. Melissa is moving back offshore, now in the southwestern Atlantic Ocean. The NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft flew around Cuba and more recently was able to make a fix of Melissa just offshore. This matches the latest view from the GOES 19 mesoscale sector and radar out of Camagüey. I really have no idea. However, the smaller core that Melissa had stubbornly maintained over the past few days has been destroyed by the higher terrain of Cuba, and a larger core structure is developing. This has led to a significant expansion of the 50-knot wind radii on the eastern side of the hurricane. Land interaction also appears to have led to an additional weakening of the maximum sustained winds that are now estimated to be around 85 knots, with the pressure up to 974 millibars based on the first NOAA P3 aircraft fix. This may still be a little generous given the aircraft wind data thus far. The Air Force Reserve Reconnaissance Mission will also be sampling Melissa later today, and they are currently in the storm. We will take a look at that here momentarily. The hurricane is continuing to slowly accelerate, now estimated to be moving to the northeast at 30 degrees at 12 knots. Melissa is expected to continue accelerating northeastward during the next several days as the hurricane is picked up by a very large and amplified upper-level trough currently digging into the southeastern United States. This motion will bring the core of the hurricane over portions of the southeastern and central Bahamas over the next several hours. After today, the track models remain tightly clustered on the center of Melissa, passing just to the northwest of Bermuda late Thursday and Thursday night. The center of the hurricane is a little bit further to the west, emerging off of Cuba, and the overall track guidance has nudged a little bit further to the west this cycle, and the NHC forecast was also nudged in that direction, continuing to blend the reliable consensus aids with the Google DeepMind ensemble mean. Now that Melissa is back offshore, it has a short-term opportunity for the hurricane to re-intensify a little as long as the larger core that has developed is able to reorganize. Shear does start to increase over the next 24 to 36 hours, but the shear vector is also in the same direction as the forward motion of the storm, which could still allow some core reorganization of the convection while the hurricane remains over warm 27 to 28 degree Celsius sea surface temperatures. Thus, the short-term NHC forecast shows a little bit of intensification over the next 12 to 24 hours before weakening begins by 36 hours. Extratropical transition is expected to be well underway at or just after Melissa passes by Bermuda, with the global model fields and model simulated satellite imagery show Melissa quickly losing tropical characteristics and becoming extratropical cyclone by 60 hours. However, Melissa will still likely be a formidable tropical cyclone as it moves up into the Canadian Maritimes by this weekend into early next week. The NHC forecast is in good agreement with the HAVS model guidance and the HCCA. If we look at our forecast intensities, maybe bringing it back up to 105 miles an hour and then beginning that slow, steady weakening process and transitioning into an extratropical cyclone here over the next 60 hours. So that will be a welcomed sight, that last advisory issued by the National Hurricane Center. As we can see with the current forecast cone and the current forecasted wind field, we are definitely going to start to see some impacts here into the southeastern and south central portions of the Bahamas here over the coming hours. If we go back to the satellite view and then switch this over to our long wave for our infrared, you can see some of these colder cloud tops trying to get in and near and around some of these islands here. That will definitely bring a substantial amount of rain in a very short period of time. Please, folks in that area, please shelter in place until after the storm passes. Flash flooding will be possible with the amount of rain and the rainfall rate that come from these stronger storms near the core of the storm. Our wind speed probabilities. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's take a look here at our spaghetti plots. We will show that. Bermuda is located right there. So, again, to the northwest, maybe not a direct impact, but still some impacts nonetheless. Our wind speed probabilities. Now, these have changed just a little bit, especially for Bermuda and Guantanamo Bay. You went from, and I've got to address this, you went, obviously, you had the tropical storm force winds. You had less than a 10% chance of seeing those 50 knot winds, but due to the land interaction and the expansion of the inner core due to that land interaction, you now went from under 10% of seeing those 50 knot winds to now at 99% of you are seeing those 50 knot winds. So again, it is very important to monitor these text products to see if your numbers are going up and down. Now, in defense of seeing that massive and sudden jump in the wind speed probabilities, when it comes to land interactions on, especially with mountainous terrain and shredding basically the small tight inner core and then expanding it outward to be this large inner core at that point. That, folks, I'm going to be honest with you, that is beyond the realm of prediction with our current level of technology. We do know that land interactions are going to take place, but at no time will we be able to have, with the current state of technology, the refined and fine-tuned models to where it can pick up the interactions between the mountainous terrain and the storm itself. The storms are primarily designed for over the open waters, and the whole friction dynamic and the topography dynamic, while is attempted to be calculated, is not the easiest thing in the world for these models and these computers that run these models. So we do have to understand and give some leeway here for the technology. We have great technology compared to the past, but it could always still get better, and we could use more refined techniques and data. And this, with Melissa and how the core has interacted with land, not once, but twice, that will certainly be studied by many, many experts, and eventually that type of data, with including other instances with land interaction as well, could be calculated and coded within the models. Again, that's not the easiest thing in the world to accomplish. So my iguana, we have an 88% chance of tropical storm force winds and a 27% chance of seeing those 50 knot, 58 mile an hour winds, 1% chance there for your hurricane force winds. So it does look like you're good on the hurricane force winds, but you will still see some impacts. San Salvador, your tropical storm force winds are currently in the yes probability of 99%, a 70% chance of seeing those 50 knot or 58 mile an hour winds, and a 33% chance of seeing those hurricane force winds. Please shelter in place. Great Exuma, we have a 67% chance of seeing those tropical storm force winds, and under 5% chance for seeing anything stronger than that. Bermuda, you are up to an 85% chance of tropical storm force winds, a 43% chance of seeing those 50 knot or 58 mile an hour winds, and a 10% chance of seeing those hurricane force winds. These values are likely to continue to increase as the error and uncertainty begins to come out of the forecast as the event becomes closer and closer. Looking at the other, we've got some oil fields out here. Hibernia oil field, 51% chance of tropical storm force winds and a 12% chance of seeing those 50 knot winds, and only a 2% chance of seeing those hurricane force winds. For Newfoundland, Cape Race specifically, 42% chance of seeing those tropical storm force winds, a 13% chance of seeing those 50 knot winds, and a 3% chance of our hurricane force winds. Jumping over to our forecast advisory, one thing that I wanted to point out here is that we do not have an overall diameter of the eye itself. It is clouded over. There is no true clear center and denoted center of circulation like on the satellite. As you can see here, there's not really much for a an eye feature at this point in time. There's still a core, but there's not that well-defined eye like we have seen days in the past. Though, as it begins to make its extratropical transition, it will begin to lose that hurricane force wind, but it will also expand the overall wind field primarily on the southern side, but some impacts could be felt there as it gets close to Newfoundland up there in Atlantic Canada. Our rainfall graphic, this will change at the 5 p.m. advisory here this evening, and we will go over it at our 6 p.m. live. Again, we are looking at some widespread rainfalls across Cuba, locally 12 inches or higher, and then with the rainfall here associated with the Bahamas. Still in that lower confidence forecast, but we are looking at the potential of seeing anywhere upwards of 8 to 12 inches or 200 to 300 millimeters at the maximum parts here. Maybe getting into Long Island, parts of Rum Cay, and San Salvador. If we go to our key messages, this is critical. We must read these. Key message number 1 is no longer Jamaica. That's at least an evolution to Melissa's history. Eastern Cuba, life-threatening storm surge, flash flooding, and landslides and damaging winds are ongoing this afternoon. Remain in a safe shelter. Number 2, Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos. Hurricane conditions, life-threatening storm surge, and heavy rainfall are expected across portions of the southeastern and central Bahamas today. Find a safe shelter and follow local official guidance. Tropical storm conditions, heavy rains, and significant storm surge are expected in the Turks and Caicos Islands today. Number 3, Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are expected across portions of Haiti and the Dominican Republic through today. In Haiti, extensive damage and isolation of communities is likely. Tropical storm conditions are expected through this afternoon. Number 4, Bermuda. Hurricane conditions and heavy rainfall are expected in Bermuda beginning late Thursday and continuing through Thursday night. Number 5, post-storm safety in impacted areas. Follow advice of local officials as you may need to remain sheltered after the storm due to down power lines and flooded areas. Ensure generators are properly ventilated and placed outside at least 20 feet away from dwellings and garages to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. During cleanup, be careful when using chainsaws and power tools. Drink plenty of water to avoid heat exhaustion. And I would also like to add, during the cleanup, make sure if using a ladder, that the base of the ladder is properly secured to the ground. We do not need people trying to get up 14, 16, 18 feet up into the air, and then the next thing you know, the ladder gives out from underneath them. So please ensure that your ladder is properly, secured to the ground. Make sure it's there, and if need be, get somebody to stand on the bottom rung as you are using the ladder, if available. Looking at the University of Wisconsin's real-time products, here, D-Print is about the closest one. The ADT, Advanced Door Vac Technique, is still, honestly, is still losing its mind. I think Melissa broke it. I'm not going to lie, I really do. As you can see here, the ADT T number, adjusted T number, is potentially in record territory. Will have to be verified afterwards, but it could be a record from Melissa for the most intense advanced door vac technique number ever recorded. All right, now using Cyclonic WX here, we are going to hit the refresh, and we have Hurricane Reconnaissance in there. 977 on the first pass, 976 on the second pass. Maybe a little bit of flight level winds in around the Category 2 range. At least a decent wind field sticking out here off to the east and to the north of the storm itself, and to the northeast as well. So please, folks, the western side, as we could see, there's not that massive intense wind that we see here on the eastern side. It does look like it is a little bit lopsided and kind of tilted with that wind field off to the east. So please, folks, just exercise caution. Remain sheltered in place here into parts of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos as this thing is beginning to lift off to the north and east. And as always, please follow your official sources. As you can see here, we have radar out of Cuba. We're kind of quite a distance away from it, but this is the most recent radar runs that we can get. And it is still a very formidable storm. So please, everybody, follow your official sources. If we come over here to the Bahamas Department of Meteorology, they've got great information as far as Melissa is concerned. So please, again, follow your local officials and your official local sources. And last but not least, we have Bermuda. They have their hurricane warning has been upgraded here. And as you could see, there's not a lot to say about that, other than a warning that one or both of the following dangerous effects of a hurricane are expected to affect Bermuda or the local marine area out 25 nautical miles in 36 hours or less. A, average wind 64 knots or higher. B, dangerously high water or a combination of dangerously high water and exceptionally high waves, even though winds expected may be less than hurricane force. So even, again, that just shows even the government of Bermuda is saying, hey, it may not be hurricane force winds, but it could very well be hurricane conditions there in the immediate offshore waters within 25 nautical miles. All right, everybody, that's all I have here for this afternoon. I will check. I didn't think we were going to get to 2. There's not a lot to go on. I can give a little bit of an update in Jamaica. I have heard rumors of 30 casualties being reported by a well known media outlet, but no confirmation has been confirmed. I did watch the press conference from Jamaica this morning with their government officials, and they did not have any reports of fatalities, but made sure to tell everybody that that was not an official declaration, that the information was very, very preliminary, and communications for the most badly and worst damaged areas are still down. So there is a lot of reports that still need to come in before any kind of determination is made. And for the folks there in the St. Elizabeth Parish in Jamaica, my heart goes out to y'all. It really does, because I have seen the damage. I have heard some of the police constable and police officers there, law enforcement. I think it was the mayor of, it could possibly be Black River. It's destroyed, folks. I mean, the damage is complete, catastrophic, unbelievable. And they are going to need help. They're not going to have water and food for very long. All of their hospitals, the tax office, the courthouse, the police station, it's all been destroyed. So there are people that are still there that have survived the storm, but the infrastructure in and around that area is not going to allow for that to be sustained for very long before conditions really begin to deteriorate for folks. So everybody, please keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers. Help out if you can in any way. They desperately need it. So with that, I am going to go ahead and sign off for now. I will be back with our normal coverage of the Atlantic and all points beyond here tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, here on Facebook and YouTube. So until then, stay safe, everybody, and we'll talk to you again in a few hours. Bye for now.